Sports fans and beautiful ladies, welcome to this episode of Field Vision, brought to you by Warren Sports in conjunction with our partners, the Sports Kings. I'm your host this evening. My name is Jimmy, a member of the Beard Gang. Hey, ladies. Around the round table, I got B. Austin. B. Austin, what's going on?
If a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it, can Donovan McNabb make it back into the NFL?
Damn.
Ooh, okay. Frank from Sports Kings. Frank, how are you?
Good. I just hope we can make this quick. I got open tryouts for the Giants. Going on later.
Yeah, I mean, you guys do need some help. Dedicated Steelers fan, Jim. He got the hat and everything. He's still riding for his team. Jim, what's going on?
I sit before you humbled but hopeful.
Yeah.
Y'all need some
Raiders
of the brothers
fan.
from Aliquippa.
We have a Raiders fan. Justin, what's going on? Justin, how was you? How was your Monday night?
My Monday night was pretty good. We got one more win than the Steelers and Giants combined.
Oh!
Also,
Started off with shots.
Shout out to our webmaster who has a higher crash rating than Lindsay Lohan.
Oh! Shots fired. Shots fired. Listen, webmaster at Sports Kings, get it together. Anyway, first thing I want to talk about before we start talking about all of our teams and giving our predictions for the following week is what's going on in San Fran. I mean, Colin Kaepernick is under fire. The Niners are 1-2. A lot of people picked him to win the Super Bowl. So I'm just going to throw the question out there. I mean, I don't care who's first or who's last as long as you answer the question at the drop of a dime. What's going on in San Fran?
They're not playing physical in the trenches as they were last year, and they have a sense of entitlement they think is sweet.
Okay. Anybody else want to weigh in?
I think all that happened is when they went to Seattle, played a tough game, and I think they just had a hangover game in Indianapolis. Against Indianapolis. I'm not worried long term.
Okay. Maybe if they lose this week, then things.
Yeah, right. Thursday night game's always tough.
So you still got a built-in excuse already, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm just be clear. I'm not worried. I still think they're an 11-5 team. I'd be disappointed at 10-6. So I still think they're very, very, very super talented. But just nitpicking and noticing what I'm noticing, they're not that physical in the trenches as they once were, and they're having problems on the outside with the receiving core. Anquan can catch anything thrown his way, but he's not going to create a whole lot of separation. And when you can key on him and put 2 and 3 people on him, because there's nobody to take anything down the field, you're going to have problems.
Yeah.
That's the
Jim,
other
what do you
thing.
think?
Frank Gore can't get the wheels going either.
Okay. Yeah, this is true. The running game. I mean, and I guess that goes to what B. Austin was saying about how they play within the trenches. Yeah. And you made another good point. When you watch these guys, it looks like they've been reading their own press clippings. I mean, they talk as if they already won the title. Not that they lost in the bowl. They talk as if they won the bowl. But Jim, what's your opinion in watching the Niners play?
Well, I think Colin Kaepernick is just having a couple of bad games, which every quarterback has, and it's just extra under the microscope because of what he's already done. Mm-hmm. And as B. Austin alluded to, I mean, outside of Vernon Davis, they don't really have a vertical threat. And Anquan Boldin, I mean, he's not that fast. I mean, he's got great hands, but he's not. They don't have any people that can get open and actually win matchups one-on-one on the outside for Kaepernick. So when that's all struggling, I mean, it just snowballs. But they'll get back on track, I have to believe.
I mean, I hope so. I mean, Alden Smith, I picked to be the Defensive Player of the Year, and now he's going to Betty Ford. So I don't know.
Yeah, he's having problems with wheels too. He's having problems with getting his wheels going.
So that's a whole other issue going on there.
Yeah. Frank Gore can't get his wheels going because Alden Smith can't make him stop.
So that's another issue there. But what we want to talk about this show is each of our teams, because we all have different teams we root for. B. Austin is a Philadelphia Eagles fan, by the way. Frank is a Giants fan. As earlier stated, Jim is a Steelers fan. I am a Broncos fan, the best team in the league, by the way. Justin is a Raiders fan. The Raiders just suffered a loss on Monday night. They put a quarter in the ass because they played themselves. But needless to say, let's jump right into this. B. Austin, you're Philadelphia Eagles. What's going on with your Eagles? I mean, since last time we've been on Field Vision, they suffered another loss at the hands of their former coach. What did you see in that game, and what do you think for the season?
I saw Donnie Avery have a career game all based on third down. Our defense is disrespectful themselves. They play as if they're little sisters of the poor. It's definitely on the defensive side of the ball. We're not that talented, and so
why does it seem? Hold on, real quick though. Why does it seem that they're talented on first and second down? They can get nobody off the field on third down. What is that?
No, it's not even that they're talented on first and second. It's that teams just chill on first and second. Like they try different things on first and second, and then when it's not cutting time and it's big boy football time on third down, they just put us in the dirt. Like if you notice that game, there was multiple 3rd and 10+ yard pickups. Like Alex Smith looked like Joe Montana when he came to the Chiefs on third down. Like it was nuts. It was crazy. They was doing what they wanted.
It wasn't quite as bad as Phillip Rivers because Phillip Rivers got every third down he wanted.
Phillip Rivers looked like your quarterback.
Yo, Phillip Rivers, AKA went from top 10 and not mentioned at all. He looked like he was back in top 10 in that game because.
So that's the defensive side of the ball. On the offensive side of the ball, a couple things I've noticed. Number one, if you give our offense multiple chances, because of the nature of the offense, we're going to hit a lot of big plays, and we're going to bludgeon you. But if you give us less than, I don't know, I want to call it 35, 40 possessions, we don't make enough consistent move the chain plays. We have a lot of mistakes. We have a lot of drop balls. Michael Vick misses a lot of reads, and then you end up really seeing where our weaknesses are on offense. I do think that the offense is good. It's a good offense. It's not great, and we certainly don't have a plethora of great talent, but it's good when it's clicking. But if the defense can't get off the field and we don't get enough opportunities on offense, we're not just Peyton Manning execution for execution's sake. Like, all we need is 15 plays and we're going to score 8 touchdowns. We're going to make some mistakes. And so it's costing our defense not being able to get off the field and give us enough
we got you. Now, anybody else want to weigh in on what they see with the Eagles?
I mean, I think you can argue that the reason why the defense is so bad is because they're on the field for 40 minutes a game because the offense is trying to run so fast that, I mean, when you don't even have a good defense in the first place, you can't have them on the field for 40 minutes. So you're just setting them up to fail.
Frank, with that being said, do you think that this system could work at this level of football, or do you think that, it's just a passing fad?
I don't think it could work at as fast as they're trying to run it. I think a fast-paced offense can work, obviously, a no-huddle offense, like Peyton Manning runs. That's still a fast-paced offense. I mean, but you can only go so fast before your defense is just screwed.
The key point to take out of what Frank has said is we're not good.
Hold on, Jim. Well, Jim, what do you say, Jim?
Do you guys remember before the regular season started, we were going to say that this offense is going to require Michael Vick to read defenses pretty well. And he already wasn't that good at it. So
the first mistake.
We're seeing that the turnovers. The turnovers against the Chiefs showed that he is missing a lot of reads. But I mean, it's boom or bust really, that offense.
Got you, Justin. What is your opinion of the Eagles thus far? Because after Week 1, everybody was. I heard Ron Jaworski say that the game in Week 1 revolutionized the game of football. It was the 8th greatest offensive performance in the history of the league.
Ron Jaworski, over the course of the last, I'd say, season and a half, has really disappointed me with some of the things he said. Because I hold Ron very high esteem.
No, I'm just saying that this is what he was saying after Week 1. Now we're going into Week 4.
I told everybody as an Eagles fan, I just want to go on record, I told everybody that we weren't shit. And the rest of them are shit. So don't be excited because we beat up on a bad team. But go ahead.
Okay, but Justin, what are you seeing thus far this season after 3 weeks in terms of the Eagles?
I saw everything in the first half of the season opener. I mean, they walked in, they came out firing on all cylinders. They did look good in that first half. The second half, Mike Shanahan made some little adjustments. He didn't do anything major, and I mean, they all but shut them down in the second half. Other defenses have picked up on that. They're playing. They're just. It's not a secret anymore what they're doing. I don't think it's going to last. I think it's going to be gone. And I heard Texas might be hiring Chip Kelly.
Damn! Whoa! All right. Well, all I have to say is it's a long season. We shall see what happens, but we wanted to bring it up.
But Shady is nasty.
Shady's definitely nasty. Shady is the man. Nothing else to say about Shady.
You said Barry Sanders?
Hey, you guys remember I called that and took it back.
Hey, B. Austin, let me ask you a question on the record, yo. Shady or Brian Westbrook?
Yo, he heard me say some things in the production meeting a couple of days ago, and now he's trying to put me on the spot. Yo,
You don't have to
shout out
answer,
to Brian Westbrook, who owns a horse farm around the corner from the crib. Yo, you the homie. I'm not going to answer that question on the record yet.
All right, we're gonna come back to that at a later date. I knew he didn't want to answer that as of yet.
Why you going?
All right. Let's just start with Justin. Let's talk about Justin and his Raiders because you guys lost on Monday night, but you were playing the best team in the league. But with that being said, I did see some things from Pryor that honestly impressed me. And the team in general, you're not as bad as I thought because I thought you guys were bad. But then again, I always think you're bad because you're the Raiders. But what is your opinion of your team thus far and the way they're going and the way they're rebuilding? Well, rebuilding from when, like 1990? I'm sorry, go ahead. Though.
2001, anyway.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised. I really thought that we wouldn't win a game, maybe one game, the Jaguars game. I'm on the edge on a couple now, but the biggest thing to me is the offensive line. That offensive line is horrible. I mean, you got Mike McCants, Andre Garab, Stefan Wisniewski. I like that kid. He's a good center. He's the best one on the offensive line. And then the other side of him, you got Mike Frizzell and Khalid Barnes. I mean, those dudes could.
I support any lineman with the last name Wisniewski.
Yeah, exactly. But that offensive line is horrible. That's a big reason why Terrell Pryor is doing what he's doing because he's having to get out of the pocket. He's having to make plays, and that it's just the athletic ability taking over. It's not by design. It's a couple of them have been by design, but the offensive line is horrible. Other than that, secondary, besides Tracy Porter, much improved. Charles Woodson's doing good work back there. DJ Hayden, I didn't get to see him play in the preseason because of his injury, but he's actually been pretty good. I think he's allowed 4. There was some big ones on Monday night, obviously, but so far so good. Linebackers, Nick Roach, he's a beast out there. I didn't think he can control and call defense like he can. And defensive line has actually played a little bit better than I expected. They're not getting to the passer as much as I would like, but they definitely have more of a pass rush than I imagine.
Yeah, and one thing I just want to say, I can't believe I'm giving any Raider credit right now, but watching Pryor play, I am impressed because you can see that he's been putting the work in.
Yes.
This is not the same guy that we saw come at the end of last season, but you can see that he's actually putting the work in to become a better quarterback. And although I do hope that he fails miserably long term. But at the end of the day, as of right now, I definitely just want to give him credit because he's making plays and he's making throws in the pocket. He's making a couple big boy throws that I've seen quarterbacks in his second, third year not be able to make. Shout out to RG3. But he's making some big boy throws, and I was very impressed.
Big boy throws, Jimmy. You must define big boy throws for our audience.
Well, you see a lot of times with younger quarterbacks, they do a lot of things behind the line of scrimmage and a lot of dink and dunk. But he's making throws down the field. They're allowing him to play quarterback the way it's meant to be played, and he's making some great throws. I mean, so I just want to give him credit in terms of that. Frank or Jim, what did you guys see when watching the Raiders?
So basically, you're saying that he's not Sam Bradford. That's what you're telling me, the check down king?
Sam Bradford. They gave him some weapons, and he still doesn't stretch the field as much as I'd like to see him. Stretch the field.
Die hard. He's used to getting effed up. Don't hate on Sam, man.
I'm not hating on Sam. Listen, B. Austin always takes up for Sam Bradford when I call him the champion.
He be out there with Manny Moe and Dan Gibson was his number one, and Danny Amendola.
You see what he got now, though? He has some weapons down there.
He does.
I'm sorry. I digress. We're gonna leave with Sam Bradford alone for right now because the jury is still out. I mean, he got paid anyway, so.
Yeah,
but Frank,
he did get paid too much to check down.
Colin Kaepernick and Russell Wilson are looking around. They make like half of what Sam Bradford makes in 3 games.
3 games. He makes more in one game than they make in the season. But anyway, Frank, with that being said, what do you think about the Raiders and where they are and what you thought they would be coming into the season?
I'm also pleasantly surprised. I think they're playing decent. I mean, obviously you can't give them too much credit for the Jaguars game. I think we were talking. I was talking to Justin. He said we have more wins than the Steelers and the Giants. I said, do you, though? Because, I mean, you got like a third of a win against the Jaguars. I don't really know if that counts. But, no, I mean, they're playing well. I think Pryor's one of those very entertaining. You know, you want to watch Terrell Pryor play. So if nothing else, even if you guys are going to be bad, Terrell Pryor is going to give you the best, most entertaining.
Did he just politically correctly call him a black quarterback? He's one of those entertaining, sensational athletes.
Hey, but you know
We're not going to
what?
talk about his ability to read defenses.
McFadden is also out there playing well too. You know, we always worry about him getting injured, but you know he's playing right now and he's balling out of control. He's in my fantasy team, so I got to give him a shout out.
Yeah, that McFadden injury is coming in about any time now.
He's actually not
injured right now.
If you look at that game, I mean, yeah, he got a lot of fantasy points. Shout out to Jim for beating me in the last 5 seconds. But all of his stuff came at the very end. He threw that touchdown pass, and then he ran for that little 1-yard scamper. Other than that, he was held to, I think, 9 carries for 10 yards.
But
he's not playing like he should be. And again, that's where the offensive line comes into play.
This is true, but he's scoring every week, and I know that because he's in my fantasy team.
I'm surprised by Terrell Pryor because.
Oh yeah, you disrespected him.
My assessment of Terrell Pryor was that he was not an NFL quarterback, and the wide receiver, tight end position awaited him. He has surprised me. He's shown me. I now will say that I believe he has a future as an NFL quarterback. I'm not going to say that he's going to be top tier or even necessarily a starting NFL quarterback, but he's an NFL quarterback. And as Jim said, big boy throws. We combine arm strength with anticipation, with reading the defense, being able to go down intermediate routes, not just check downs, not just swing passes, not bubble screens, not even long play action passes with single high safety and the safety guess because anybody with a strong arm can throw to an open person 40 yards downfield, but when the safety's in front and you got to throw into a window, that's a big boy throw.
Yo, did B. Austin really try to TiVo Terrell Pryor in the preseason?
Yes,
TiVo.
The only person that he disrespected worse than Terrell Pryor was Geno Smith. He said Geno Smith is headed for a career of bumdom, and that's a quote.
Damn.
So
Bumdom.
That is, he's bummed. I stand by that. E.J. Manuel, I think, is going to be out of that class. E.J. Manuel is going to be the one. I think Geno Smith is probably going to say 20 years from now. Would you like some fries with that?
This is all on the record though, so we can always come back and clown him because he's already like changing a little bit on Pryor. So Jim, what do you think about the Raiders?
No, I didn't clown. I didn't shit on Pryor. I just said I didn't think.
No, you didn't, but you sharted on him. You did shart on him. You sharted on him a little bit.
No, I didn't have to clean my drawers. There were no skid marks.
Jim, let's go to Jim. Jim, what do you think about the Raiders?
I'm just curious if they're going to actually let Pryor play out this season and then have a chance to start next year if he continues to play and improve. Because they play quarterback.
You have to.
Like they play quarterback checkers more than any team in the league. So
this is true. This is true. Somebody fighting their keyboard. The next team we want to get to. Let's keep it right here with you, Jim. Let's talk about your Steelers. Before we got on.
What?
Hold on though. Before we got on, you said you're still holding out hope because of the schedule. You said based upon your schedule, you think you guys can jump right back in it. Now, what I didn't get from you is, did you mean to win your division to make the playoffs, or just to look like an NFL team?
I'm gonna have to go with option 3 there because these first 3 weeks is probably the worst 3 weeks I've seen in the last decade.
They've won 9 games without 100 yards rushing.
So
the franchise record.
But this last game, I did see some improvements in a lot of areas, minus the turnovers, of course, that really ruined the whole game. But I mean, Big Ben threw 406 yards on a tough Bears defense. We had almost 500 total yards. And that was just good to get the ball in the end zone because that was a real struggle the first 3 weeks. But we started out tough before. I mean, I remember a couple years ago.
Shout out to Todd Haley.
A couple years ago, Baltimore washed us 35-7 in the home opener. We were like 1-3, ended up like 12-4. So I've seen us come back from something like this before, but I haven't seen us look as bad the first 3 games either. But I'm not ready to give up yet. I mean. Okay,
well, I mean, listen, you're a diehard fan. You're still holding out hope. I mean, all of us are laughing at you, but at the same time, you're doing what you're supposed to do.
True story. No, true story. If you read Jim's Twitter feed, you would think that Le'Veon Bell was like if Eric Dickerson and Barry Sanders, like you got some DNA and you just like put it in a little
But have you
just put
seen
it
our running
together.
game? Have you seen our
Artificially
running game?
inseminated, like
No,
some like really nice female athlete.
9 games under 100 yards of rushing.
That's why I'm excited about Bell. Bell's
As a
easily the
team.
most talented back on the roster, so to have him coming back,
That's
That
not
ain't
hard
hard
to
to
be,
do,
but
but
still.
still.
Yeah.
All right, so he's better than the 5 of us. That's basically what you're saying.
So Frank,
I'm not,
Frank,
no,
what
better
is,
than David
you might not
Wilson.
be better than me. I'm nice.
hold up, Frank. What is your analysis of the Steelers? I mean, we know that Jim is still holding out hope. What do you see?
I sort of agree. I think they can bounce back. I don't think they can bounce back and make the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to be, a 4-win team. I think they'll bounce back to a 6-10 record. It's really the Heath Miller edition. I don't think you can make enough of it. Heath Miller is Ben's. That's his guy. Like, if he doesn't have Heath Miller, Ben's a completely different quarterback. So as long as Heath Miller's on the field, I think they'll be all right.
Antonio Brown and Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah, that doesn't matter though.
That's the point,
Heath's boy.
Austin.
Yeah, when you got your boy, it's just different.
Yeah, it is. That's like taking away Calvin Johnson from Matt Stafford. Not saying he's on a level, but that's his security blanket. Justin, what do you see when you watch the Steelers?
Again, I look at offensive line, and if you guys watch the broadcast, they were talking about that offensive line. Besides Mike Pouncey, obviously he's out. Marquise Pouncey, pardon me. He's out, but that offensive line is made up of all high draft picks. You got Mike Adams, David DeCastro, Pouncey. It's just not the offensive line anymore to me. I look at Todd Haley. There's a reason why he was fired. Yes, he had 2 good years. Okay, 3 good years if you count Arizona as an offensive coordinator. But other than that, he hasn't done shit in the league. That's what I look at first.
Okay, great point. That's a great point. I talked about it last week. I just look at the trenches on both sides, offensive and defensive line, and the Steelers usually are nasty. When you look at that stat of not having a 100-yard back in 9 games, that's not Steelers football. I understand that Big Ben is talented, but that's not Steelers football. B. Austin, what do you see?
I see a defense that rose itself up to somewhere between mediocre and good, and I see an offense that's completely inept. You're trying to execute things that aren't to Big Ben's strength, and it's biting you in the ass. You can't run the ball, and you have 2 number 3 receivers vying for number 1 position. So without Heath, it's rough, baby. It's rough.
And you also have to look at the amount of talent that has left that team in the last couple of years. You guys lost a lot of players, man.
I don't think their defense, though, Jimmy. You kind of took a shot at their D. Like, their D, I don't think their D is that bad.
No, I'm not saying they're playing. But what I'm talking about is how nasty they are in the trenches.
Yeah.
Like, you would watch the Steelers game, and they would dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball every game, win or lose. They're just not playing what I consider Steelers football. Even in the Bears game, when the offense started moving, Ben damn near threw for 500 yards. That's not Steelers.
I've never seen Ben throw over 400.
That's not Steelers football.
The guy that's looked really good, even in the 0-3, and looks vintage, is Palomalu. He's looked like, he's like jumping over line of scrimmages again.
The sad thing is,
he's taking it back to USC.
Well, the first 2 games, the defense was on the field all game long. You're holding teams to 16 points and 20 points and 200 yards, and you're losing.
That's great. Their D is balling. Like,
they're not moving the chains, though. But they're not moving the chains. So by the time the second half comes, it's a completely different defense.
Yep.
But let's move on down the line.
So Frank. He's saying that Troy Polamalu is overrated. Do we want to discuss that? We'll move.
I know you have this thing because you're a huge Ed Reed fan. You hate for anyone to give Polamalu credit. But with that being said,
I just think he's overrated.
Okay, we can get to that for another whole show.
All right.
Frank, your New York Football Giants may have looked worse on Sunday than anybody else's team. The Panthers completely,
obliterated y'all.
They lined you guys up and they took your Manheimans. I don't know what else to say about this game, but you guys look terrible. What's going on with your Giants, man?
I literally thought Cam Newton was Superman on Sunday. I thought Superman was real. I was starting to question things like maybe Santa Claus is real, because Superman's obviously real because he's standing on the field. No, but it's everything we talked about last week. They can't, and then you throw in Eli was sacked, I believe, 6 times in the first half. In one half, he was sacked 6 times.
Eli is scared.
Why shouldn't he be? He should be scared. He should be petrified. He's gonna
Eli isn't scared. Eli don't care. Eli doesn't care one way or another. Win, lose, or draw. Eli's got the same Eli. He don't care.
No, you saying that because of his face, but I think he's scared.
No, Eli don't care. I'm saying it because I think Eli is slightly. Never mind. Leave it alone. But anyway,
autistic.
You said it. I didn't.
I think the only saving grace is that the Giants are fortunate to play in the worst division in the NFL, and I think they still might have a chance only for that reason because I'm literally starting to think that 8-8 is going to win the NFC East.
I agree. That boy good.
7-9, baby.
Yeah, once you get David Deal is not. I mean, it's not like he's the saving grace to everything, but he's better than anything we have on the offensive line. He's going to be back soon, and you have to. It sounds terrible, but you have to give Wilson the ball and give him a chance to get his confidence back because he's the best chance you got. Yeah, give him a chance to dribble. But I mean, if he can get the handle.
He has an amazing handle though. He has a nice crossover. I've seen him go around the back a couple times.
I think he's been working with Chris Paul in the offseason there. But no, I think that's the only saving grace. They're not a good football team, though. And they need – see, the way the Giants used to win is – and this is the common misconception. People think Eli did everything. The defense kept him in the game. The defensive line got pressure, caused turnovers, and Eli finished it off. They kept him in the game, and Eli would finish it. Now it's trying to be the opposite, where Eli's trying to keep the defense in the game, and it's just not working because he's not that kind of – Eli can play from ahead. He's Tiger Woods.
I watched this game closely because I have Cam Newton as my fantasy starter. So for selfish reasons, I was watching this game, and the defensive line got no pressure on Cam Newton. It used to be a time where they would get pressure without blitzing at all, and now they get no pressure.
They didn't even get close to him.
Not at all. He looked like Tom Brady, baby. You know how Tom Brady sits and he pats the ball because no one's nowhere around him. I mean, he was doing that. I'm like, this is not the Giants team that we saw win the Super Bowls where they got pressure without blitzing anyone, just the front four. B. Austin, what's your opinion on the Giants? I mean, they play in your team's division. So what do you think?
Well,
you picked them to win the division, by the way, didn't you?
Let's start with the fact that I picked them to win the division because I can't pick the Cowboys. It's against my religion. But I'm shocked that they're playing like they have no spine, no heart, no balls. Like they are really, really, really bad. And that's not characteristic of a Tom Coughlin team. The Tom Coughlin team is gritty. The Tom Coughlin team runs the ball. But then also you have to look at the talent on defense. Like they're just not that talented on defense. And I don't know what's up with JPP. Maybe it's one of those situations where if the other side, if you can't double team him, he's going to be a manimal. But if you can double him, chip him, he's mortal again. I don't know. Your linebackers, I definitely believe if given the opportunity between the five of us, we could field three of us that could play linebacker for the Giants.
Justin, watching the Giants, what are your observations on the Giants?
The biggest thing is there's no pass rush. The Giants have always been known for pass rush. I don't see any of that. They're not beating guys. They're not even beating good offensive linemen or bad offensive linemen. There's just nothing.
What happened though? Like what happened?
They're honestly, the same players.
Yeah,
that's the weird part. It's the same guys.
Yeah, but look at the Falcons. Osi Umenyora's over there. That defensive line is balling out of control. It's the same guys plus Osi. Could be the difference over there.
Yeah.
So Osi wasn't really.
Osi was the key this whole time, huh? Now we find out. But he's making a good break though. The Falcons. He's over with the Falcons and it's going crazy. So.
He's 3 fumbles on the year, and everybody's paying attention to him because of that. Could be the same thing for New York because he's missing. And like it or not, he's a big part of what that defensive line was.
Yeah, but there was one year where Osi was just a complete non-factor, and it was the same defense. I mean, I don't think the answer is Osi.
So what's if it's the same players, what's going on, Frank?
I'm just saying that's a possibility.
Frank, you just have no. You just don't even know what to say.
I don't have an answer.
You know what it is.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Hold on. Let Jim get in real quick. Pause. Jim, what do you think is going on with the Giants?
I didn't watch the game, but I saw the score and I was in disbelief. I had to read it twice because the Giants are historically. I mean, they are a streaky team though. I mean, you see them hit the playoffs at 9-7 and go to the Super Bowl, so it's not out of the realm of possibility for them to get it going. Because they have a lot of the same personnel. It's just Eli's struggling. The turnovers are killing him. to start off the year, but who knows? I mean, if there's a team that could turn it around, I think the Giants could do it.
Jim is completely optimistic about everybody. I think a lot of it has to do. A lot of
only
it
the
has to do with his. A lot of it has to do with his Steelers. That's what it is.
No, only the Giants and Steelers, because we've done it before. I mean, I'm not saying St. Louis is going to go to the Super Bowl, you know.
Got you.
I
Yeah,
think,
but you're saying the Jaguars, right?
there could be some validity to the OC theory, and here's what I'll say to that. A lot of times when we look at guys that dominate on the D line, you're thinking, okay, sack production, or even forced fumble production, but it's also about the type of double teams that you create. Whether it's an interior double team you create or an edge double team, if you've got two very good pass rushers, one of them has to get doubled. And if you double one, the other is going to get off. If you've got a great D tackle or interior lineman, you've got to assign your interior line to block, and that's going to give the edges, the ability to work. So it could be not so much that OC is just this super dominant guy, but he's good enough to demand a double team, and that double team means he's not going to produce a lot of numbers, but he is demanding that double team for other people to get busy. So,
yeah, I mean, I think the last thing I'll say, too, is I think that defensive line has always covered up for the secondary. That has always been below average. So now that the defensive line isn't performing, the secondary is getting completely exposed.
Oh, yeah.
For the below average secondary, it's always been.
They were getting exposed. I didn't know whether I was watching a Giants game or Pornhub because they were getting exposed. Exposed. With that being said, the last team to talk about is my beloved Broncos. And
I got to get a beer.
I'm just going to say, we're the best team in the league. I want to start off with Justin, though, because, he got to see firsthand how great my team is. So, Justin, I know you think that Seattle's still a better team. Do you really think that, or you're just saying that?
I think Richard Sherman can shut down. I didn't say Seattle was a better team. I think Frank said Seattle was a better team.
I did.
I said that Richard Sherman would shut down. I'm not shut down Peyton Manning because he has so many weapons. But he ain't throwing on Richard Sherman.
Okay.
I can't say anything bad about the Broncos other than I hate them.
Okay, I respect that.
They are, if not, they got to be the best team in the league. I can't deny that. They're doing everything right. I mean, every Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie looks like a Pro Bowler.
Yeah, I was very shocked. Like he's playing like, he had the great years.
I was never
shocked
by that.
No, when he went to Philly, I don't know what happened to him in Philly.
We complicated the scheme for him. He's a dumb athlete. If you let him play man, and not think, he's gonna thrive. If you make him play in a zone where he's got to make reads and make decisions, he's confused and he's thinking instead of reacting. So I'm not surprised he's dominant. He's relatively young too, so I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah,
he just called him the defensive Michael Vick. Is that what he just did?
He pretty much did.
Did you just call him Nnamdi Asomugha?
But listen, he's playing great football right now. I mean, I'm very impressed with the defense. And I'm just so angry at the same time because if Von Miller was with this team, it could be very special if he was playing at his potential.
Von Miller,
and Champ Bailey.
And Champ Bailey. I think Champ Bailey still have nightmares about Torrey Smith. But other than that, I think about how great the defense is playing without arguably their two best players.
Yeah. Von Miller and Aldon Smith are paving the way for J.J. Watt, like the Red Sea. He's just walking right through Defensive Player of the Year. These guys are just
pretty much. Because Von Miller, B. Austin, he laughs when I tell him. I told him last year, I says that's our best player in our team overall. He's like, but you got Peyton Manning. I'm like, listen, Von Miller is gifted. Von Miller is an amazing player.
Fucking disrespectful is what you are.
but at the end of the day, man, I look at how the defense is playing with him not being there, and it's pissing me off a little bit. But at the same time, I mean, I look at the schedule too. Like we have a kind of cupcake schedule. We play the Eagles this week. Then no disrespect. No, but here's the thing though. I'm actually a little nervous about that.
With our defense, but
here's why I'm a little nervous. It's a short week, and the Eagles have had an extra long time. The Eagles had like 12 days in between games. So, but
that means we're only gonna play worse.
Yeah, but listen though. But after the Eagles game, we played like two horrible. I know Jacksonville's one of the games. Played Jacksonville in Denver. So. But
Jimmy, think of it this way. I mean, if your defense just plays average, that's all you need.
Sure.
But they're playing above average, so it's just like an added bonus.
Before I
dropping
make
40
a
a game.
fool of myself and tell y'all how Peyton Manning is God and one of my favorite human beings. I'll start with y'all defense. The thing that impresses me the most about the Denver Broncos defense, they don't blitz to get pressure on the quarterback. They just get there, and their linebackers are monstrous in coverage. Like
They're
those
so
are
fast.
some of the. There's some
They're
of the
fast. They got
best.
speed.
There's some of the best big guy cover guys I've ever seen. Like I've never seen guys 240 plus able to shift their hips. And no, that sounded real Atlantic.
Yeah,
But
very Mississippi.
they can open their hips and they've got great feet. So it's like they don't worry about blitzing to get pressure on opposing quarterbacks, and they sit. It's almost like they're sitting in nickel, even though they're not in a nickel package with extra defenders, because their linebackers can cover. Yo, their defense is scary.
Yeah, I mean, we have a defensive coach, so like you said, like Jim said, that's an added bonus because the offense
you got an
right
offensive god.
now, offense is running on all
player.
cylinders right now, man. But you got to understand, they haven't lost since like the middle of the last year in a regular season, of course. But we'll see what happens.
They're still not better than the Seahawks.
Listen, again, I'll say this as a Broncos fan, this is all great, but means nothing to the playoffs. At the end of the day, we're in a position where it's win championship or bust. All this really means nothing.
Sounds good.
So with all that being said, let's get to this week's games. There's only 3 games that we all agree on, and that includes Dev, who's not here. Dev is in Florida, doing whatever he's doing in Florida. But I think he's at Disney or something. So, but anyway.
Not freezing.
Yeah, hopefully not, because I look at the weather down there. It's not doing too good down there. So,
Hey,
whatever
shout out
he's
to
doing.
Jimmy for that weather app.
Oh, the weather app's amazing, by the way. F weather widget. But anyway, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, and Denver. We all agree on those games, which is amazing considering we have 2 Eagles fans amongst us, and they all picked Denver.
I just want to say I came this close to picking Jacksonville. Wouldn't surprise me, a Jacksonville upset. I'm telling you.
Okay. Remember, he said that no one else said that, right? Like, we all know how Jacksonville stinks. Okay.
I got Indy edging it.
But then we can't give you credit anyway because you didn't have the gonads to pick them. So even if they do win, anyway, let's talk about the other games, there, gentlemen. Let's go down the line. We have San Fran and the St. Louis Rams. B. Austin.
San Fran, easy.
Frank.
Niners.
Jim.
Kaepernick.
Justin.
I picked the Rams in this one.
Justin picks the Rams. Interesting. I'm also going with the Niners and Dev. Let me get Dev's picks too, because Dev also had the Niners. But what do you see from the Rams? And the funny thing is, I was close to picking them as well, but I'm like, yo, San Fran has to get off the schneid. But what do you see that makes you think the Rams will win this game?
One, they're playing on the road. The 49ers are playing on the road. 2, the 49ers haven't beaten the Rams in 2 years. Last year was a tie, and then, of course, they lost at home, or lost on the road again. I just think Jeff Fisher does something special at home. I don't know his track record on games won at home, but I know that defense balls out, and they are prepared. The smack talk has gone all the way back. Even Craig Dahl left St. Louis, went to San Francisco, and just smack talk all the way back. I had a hard time picking them, but I did it in my preseason power ranking or whatever, that I did pick this game as a loss. I got to stay with it, just everything going on right now.
Absolutely. Well, you're on the island with this one. Frank, you want to say something about this game?
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say I would have picked the Rams if San Fran was coming off a win, but I think that loss to Indy is just so bitter in their mouth. I think they're just going to come out all...
Use the same exact logic I did. All of us, including Dev, picked San Fran, so Justin is on the island with the Rams, and we shall see what happens. Baltimore Ravens at Buffalo Bills. Justin, I'll keep it right with you. Who do you have in this game?
The defending champions.
The Baltimore Ravens. I also have Baltimore. Jim, who do you have?
The Bills can't stop anything. Baltimore.
Okay. Frank, who do you have?
Buffalo.
Oh, okay.
You're cotton picking mine.
Okay, so
Hey, you talk to Matt.
B. Austin.
I have the Baltimore Ray Lewises.
You know he's done, right?
Yeah, but did you hear what happened? Like, he came onto the field their last game, and they were losing, and, like, the players responded, and they won't. I'm dead serious.
No, I listen, but he's not gonna beat her this week. But Dev also picked Baltimore. So on this one, Frank Shaw, he's on an island by himself with Buffalo. So, we'll see what happens. We have the Bears and the Lions. B. Austin.
The Bears.
We got the Bears. Okay, Frank, who you got?
Lions.
Jim, who you got?
Detroit.
Detroit Lions. Okay, let me see. In this game, I also have Detroit. And Justin, who do you have?
I got the Bears.
The Bears. Okay. And
Telling you, those Bears, they sneaky stink. Those Bears, they sneaky stink.
Sneaky stink. Yeah, Dev also has Detroit. It is something about the Bears, Frank. I agree with you. I just haven't completely bought in yet. And I think it's because I know Cutler walks into the game with 2 turnovers, and they've been able to overcome that. But hey, it is what it is. So next game,
are they playing? This is the Bears at home, right?
No, it's at Detroit.
It's at Detroit.
Ooh.
Yeah. So we also now the next game we have in. I'm gonna start with you again. We have the Giants and the Chiefs. Who do you have in that game?
I think the Chiefs have already won that game.
The Chiefs have already won that game. All right, Frank, who do you have?
We gather here to bury the Giants. Kansas City barbecue.
Now, are you being a homer, or you really believe that?
No, I'm picking Kansas City. Kansas.
You say okay. You said you're burying the
Giants. Yeah,
okay, I respect that. You're burying the Giants with the Kansas City barbecue. Okay, got you. Jim, who do you have in that game?
The Chiefs come back to earth. The Giants get off the snide. Giants.
So you have more faith than he does in his own team. Sad. I'm also taking the Chiefs and Andy Reid. Justin, who are you taking?
Big Red over Big Blue.
Big Red over Big Blue. Dev is also taking the Giants, by the way. FYI. Justin, let's stay there with you. Steelers at Vikings.
Does someone have to win this game?
Someone has to win this game.
I picked the Steelers.
Okay, I'm also taking the Steelers. Jim, who do you have?
This is where it all turns around, baby. Here we go.
Okay. Frank, who do you have?
I got Barry Sanders, Eric Dickerson, Le'Veon Bell, Steelers.
Or just better than or just better than Isaac Redman, however you want to put it.
B. Austin, who you got?
I'll be taking Adrian Peterson all day over the Steel City.
Okay, because Dev got the Steelers as well, so B. Austin is out on the island on this game and taking the Vikings.
Good job, guys. Good job.
We have the Arizona Cardinals at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. B. Austin, who do you have in this game?
I'm probably never going to pick the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so I'm going with the other squad, Arizona.
Okay. Frank, who do you have?
I also have the Cardinals.
Okay, Jim, who do you have?
I'm predicting a pick 6 for Patrick Peterson, Mike Glennon's first start. Cardinals.
Okay, I'm taking Tampa. Justin, who you taking?
Why?
All right, and Dev also took Tampa. So we'll see what happens there. This is like me and Dev only one taking Tampa. Everybody else is taking Arizona in that game. Next game, well, we're going to skip that one because actually, no, we all didn't take this one. Seahawks at Houston Texans. Stay right there, Justin.
Seahawks.
Okay, I also have the Sea Chickens. Jim, who do you have?
The Houston Frogs get smacked again this week. Seahawks.
Okay. Frank, who do you have?
Seahawks.
So, B. Austin.
I got the Seattle Tunas.
You got Seattle. Okay, so Dev is the only one taking Houston. So he's a lot of these games like
a lot of islands.
One person on. Yeah, it's a lot of islands this week. We got
a lot of Darrelle Revis.
Yeah, more or less. We got the Jets at the Tennessee Titans. B. Austin, who do you have?
I have a draw.
No, seriously, who you got?
Give me the Titans.
Okay, Frank, who you have?
The same way the Bears sneaky stink, the Titans are they're sneaky good.
Sneaky
Titans.
good. Got you.
Sneaky good.
Jim, who do you have?
Titans have been too impressive to take the Jets in this one so far.
Okay. I'm taking Take Me to Another Place. Tennessee. Justin, who are you taking?
Geno Smith.
Geno Smith. So Dev also is taking Tennessee. So in this game, Justin is on an island with Geno Smith. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. But you are on an island with Geno Smith.
Squad.
We are on an island with Geno Smith. The next game is the Dallas Cowboys at the San Diego Superchargers. Justin, who you got?
I can't pick the Chargers. Gotta go Cowboys.
That's right. And I also have Dallas. Jim, who do you have?
Oh, Dallas.
Oh, Dallas. Frank, who do you have?
San Diego Superchargers.
Don't say it.
Austin, who do you have?
Yo, I was gonna do the same thing. I can't even go last anymore here. I'm taking Phillip Rivers.
Okay. Dev is also
On
taking
third
Dallas.
down.
So Frank and B. Austin are the only ones taking the Chargers. And B. Austin, and it's funny because you guys root for NFC East teams, and you are the two guys that take the Chargers. So that makes sense. All right, here's the game. Washington
Did
Redskins.
you see what they did to us on third down?
Washington Redskins at the Oakland Raiders. B. Austin.
I'm going with the Raiders.
Frank, who do you take?
He's gonna be RG 1 and 3.
Okay, so you taking Washington. Got you, Jim.
Stole my line.
I'm taking Oakland. I think they showed enough to torch that Washington defense.
Here's the thing. I wrote down Oakland, but I don't know what's going on with Pryor, so I'm going to take the Redskins just because Matt Flynn.
Flip-flopping?
Yo, Matt Flynn.
Just give McFadden the ball 47 times. They'll be all right.
Yeah, he may not make out the game. Yeah, exactly.
He'll be injured.
Justin, who you taking?
RG 1 and 3.
RG 1 and 3. Okay, so
Is this in Oakland?
yeah. And Dev is also taking the Redskins. So let's go to the Patriots at the Falcons, and Justin will stay right there with you.
Taking New England.
New England. I'm taking Atlanta. No Mr. C. Jim, who you taking?
This one's probably the closest one there is, but I took New England.
Okay, Frank, who you taking?
I got New England. This is gonna be a Tom Brady like FU game where he's like yelling at people on like 1st and 10. Nobody.
I'm still
why.
good.
A Tom Brady, I'm still good game.
Yeah.
B. Austin, who you got? Okay.
Atlanta.
Yeah. Okay, last game of the week. B. Austin, I'm going to start with you. We have two undefeated teams going at it this game. The Miami Super Dolphins and the New Orleans Saints.
New Orleans Saints.
New Orleans Saints. Frank.
Drew Brees.
Drew Brees. Jim.
This is in New Orleans, right?
Yes,
Yes.
it is.
That was my deciding factor because the Dolphins are a lot better than people think, but I think
They are.
New Orleans will
They
get it
definitely
done.
are.
New Orleans
Okay.
gets it done, though.
I'm taking New Orleans as well. Justin, who are you taking?
Jimmy Graham.
New Orleans. Dev's taking New Orleans. So with that being said, one of you guys flip-flop. Let's see who it was that flip-flop.
I think it was B. Austin.
I also think it's B. Austin, by the way, and I'm gonna call you out, B. Austin, because you flip-flop, man. Earlier you said the Dolphins, yo.
Yeah,
Now you flip-flop.
I picked the Dolphins. I flip-flop based on this being a home game for New Orleans.
Yeah.
I think the home team in this particular game wins the game. They're going to be on turf, and I think that favors New Orleans. If they were on grass, I think that favors Miami. I think Miami is a lot better.
Mike
I think
Wallace
Miami's
has 2
good.
deep ones today, this game.
I don't think Tannehill's ready for the spotlight. I don't think he's ready. He's not about that life yet.
He's not
Okay,
about
we
that.
shall
But
see.
I think
We shall see.
Miami is going to hurt a lot of people's feelings at some point this season, man.
I agree, but I just think
Good.
Tannehill's going to get caught up a little bit this time.
I told y'all to start the season. New Orleans is going to run away with that division. And listen, Drew Brees right now. Matter of fact, their defense right now, Miami's going to be marked out. That's all I'm saying. They marked out.
Yeah,
With that being said, man.
Keenan Lewis goes to New Orleans. Their pass defense is top 10. Unreal.
Yeah. This is true. Listen, man. So those are our picks for this upcoming week. Catch us back here next week on Field Vision. Make sure you go to sports-kings.com to see everything they're doing, all the articles. You also see Field Vision on there as well. So go to sports-kings.com, visit warroomsports.com, and check out everything we're doing online. As we always say, don't accept mediocrity. Be steadfast in the war against ignorance. We shall see you chumps on top next week.
Hashtag Beard Gang.
Go Le'Veon Dickerson.
Le'Veon Dickerson. Nice.
Better than Isaac Redmond. That's his name.
Wait, it's the war room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys, the first of 5.